Jay, and evening to us. I hope we are doing well. We had a good day, all of us, and for those who didn't have a good day, I'm so sorry, and we wish tomorrow will be better. My name is Mary Wangere. I'm the Senior Research and Development Manager at Hako Industries. I'm the brain behind some of the brands that are out there. One of the brand is Amara, Miadi. If you know them, you can give me a thumbs up. You have heard of them. You have seen SoSoft, Ace, all those brands. We manufacture them here in Kenya, and the formulations are done by us Kenyans, and I'm the brain behind them. Today's discussion is going to be engaging, and I want us to engage. So we can start by showing up. You can give me a thumbs up. You can give me some love. You can give me some clapping to just show that we are together. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's about a question that we all have. It's about our career growth. And today's discussion, I wanted us to take it from a personal perspective point of view, but also some of the initiatives that we can bring on board to our organizations, some of ideas we need to bring on board to our HRs, our senior management. If we are employers, some of the ideas we need to onboard for our own employees as well. And I would start by saying that it is our mindset that shapes our reality. We have to learn how to present ourselves as people who adds value and not just someone who is looking to fit in. The journey starts with our mindset. The journey starts with how we see things, our perspectives on things. And I always say that everyone's perspective at workplace matters, and there is nothing like a foolish idea. So once we realize that our perspectives are unique and they are important, then we need to position ourselves to communicate them with a lot of confidence. It starts with our mindset, and we have to have the mindset of adding value, coming to solve problems, coming to add value far and above what we are earning. I always say, no one will pay you enough for the job that you do. So at one point, money might not be the key factor why we will wake up to go and work. So we have to bring back the reason of waking up to go and work back to our hands. We have to remove that the reason of waking up from the hands of people, from the hands of bosses, from the hands of money, and take the reason to go to work back to our own hands. And it starts with our mindset. There is the reason why it might be limiting for our growth, and we encounter or we find a lot of stagnation from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 in the same place. 15 years in the same organization, we have not changed, we have not raised in any hierarchy or nothing, we have not developed. One reason is we are not finding something else to change. We are not finding something to add value. And I understand adding value might not be as quick as in some organizations as other places are, but we have to have the right communication skills for our ideas to be understood, but also to be taken seriously and to be implemented. How we communicate what we want to change, how we communicate the value we want to bring matters a lot. So it all starts with our mindset, and it's our mindset that shapes our realities. If we find we are not growing, if we find we are not developing, if we find we don't even have a route, we don't even have a plan, to grow or change, it is all in our mindset. The realities that we have today, it's the products of our mindsets. So we must evolve and go beyond just fitting in. I just want to fit in. I just want to clock in. I just want to clock out. I have nothing else to do for this company other than if my job is to arrange these seats this way, I will arrange them in the morning and disarrange them in the evening. If we don't find ourselves in the space of value adding, then we are doing injustice to ourselves. And I always say the employer is not responsible for our career growth. The people who are responsible for our career growth is ourselves, and therefore we have to take that mandate by ourselves. The second thing I would want to say is the success in our workplaces comes from solving problems and driving growth, not just from receiving and following instructions. If we are employees who just receive instructions and follow them, I can assure you, that then our career growths are not going, they're going to be stagnant, and we're not going to have any developments as people, as personal developments in our careers. We have to have the mentality or the mindset of solving problems and driving growth. And this is a call, as I started by saying, it's a call of going beyond your salary. It's a call of going beyond pleasing a boss. It's a call of going beyond clocking in 8 and clocking out 5. You have to go beyond task-oriented performance measures or performance matrices, and you decide that the proof of my performance will be the tasks that I have done. Today, the proof of your performance is the problems you have solved efficiently and sustainably, and the growth you have brought to the business or the entity that we are working. And even for the employers, we have to challenge our employees. We have to go beyond being paid to deliver a task to a point of where we are bringing now solutions to the challenges that are there. And I always say the challenges are opportunities. There are opportunities for us to volunteer, to learn, and to dig deeper into our potentials. If you do not volunteer and solve a challenge that is new, you will not discover the potentials that are hidden in you. And the moment you do not realize or discover the potentials that are hidden in you, it is when you start losing it. It is when we start equating what we deliver with the money, and we say, I'm not paid for this task. No, I'm not paid to do that. No, my salary cannot, the salary I earn, I cannot deliver this. And I always say the workplaces are opportunities of learning. The workplaces are opportunities that are free learning. It's opportunity where you don't need to pay fee to learn. When you volunteer to solve challenges in marketing, and maybe you are in procurement, or maybe you are in finance, you're just gaining new skills, but you're also digging deeper into your potential. The person who is going to reveal the deep potentials in you, it is not your employer. It is how much you are willing to expose yourself. It's how much you are willing to dig deeper. And the more you dig deeper in yourself, the more you grow, the more you expose yourself to different things. And today we are talking of multi-skilled personnel. We don't want you to just be a finance person and a finance and a finance and a finance. We don't want you to be a marketer and a marketer. We want you to be a marketer who can be able to advise in sales, who can be able to advise in finance, who can be able to advise in the whole acumen of our business. And the only way you can do these things without saying that going back to school, reskilling is expensive, upskilling is expensive, I don't have enough time, I only have 24 hours and I have to sleep for 5 hours at least. Some of us are still struggling to get 8 hours, you know. The only way you can have your 24 hours and still upskill, it is to volunteer to solve the challenges you see in other departments, or in other areas of where you're working. And this is what is going to push you to develop your career. Do we have a question, sir? Anyone with a question? Okay, we can proceed. The other thing I wanted to say is our career is built through growth. We have to seize every opportunity to develop and expand our potentials. And this is exactly what I meant. All those opportunities, all those challenges, you have to see them as opportunities for your learning. You have to see them as opportunities for your growth. And you have to start seeing yourself as a multi-skilled person, not just a one-skilled person. And the only way you can do this is when you see challenges as opportunities for you. You always look for problems to solve them, because it is by solving problems that you expand your potential. It is by solving problems that you bring the growth in you. If today I know how to figure out a market research, tomorrow I want to understand the dynamics of procurement. The other day I want to understand the dynamics of HR. Why? Because I will have a team reporting to me, or I will work with a team, and I want to be a contributor of this team's growth. If I'm not able to understand the dynamics around HR, how am I going to be a good team builder? How am I going to understand what is going on with my team if I can't understand people? So sometimes I always say my background is in engineering, but today I'm a formulator. But in formulating, I say I have a lot of business acumen, which contributes to like 95%, and chemistry contributes to only 5% of what I do. But apart from me being an engineer, I'm very passionate about HR. And my interest in HR has brought a lot of change in my organization. I have learned how to be empathetic. I have learned how to understand people. I've learned how to motivate people. I have learned how to work with a team, how to build a team. I have learned how to mentor and coach a team. I have gone beyond people who deliver tasks. I've gone to build people. And the growth that right now the companies are pushing, we are not having employees for Hako only. We are building employees to go beyond a company, such that when you leave this organization and you go to another organization, you will be a good employee to that organization. So the eras of I'm training this employee so that they can work for me and only me, that era is gone. So even today, even in our organization, we need to ask ourselves as HR personnel and even leaders in these organizations, when this employee leaves this organization, are they going to be good employees where they are heading to, or are they going to be pathetic and they need to be trained? So today's training is going beyond a company. We are training employees to be employable elsewhere. And that is the sustainability of the employment today. It is no longer that selfish approach by companies where you are afraid when I train you, you might be poached by so-and-so, or when I train. It is no longer about that. And just a challenge to all of us, and even in our organization. And even if you don't have, even if you are an employee, go and challenge your organization. Every employee is looking for a growth opportunity, and where there is no growth, there's a very high turnover. But who is to drive the growth? It is ourselves to drive the growth. You need to see your exit plan of a department to a different department, or your exit plan to a different organization with different dynamics for your own growth. But that is a discussion for later. The other thing I wanted to say is we need to know that lifelong learning is inevitable. And there is no way you will achieve career growth without learning. And learning is continuous. and it must be accessible all the time. One way to learn it is to embrace change. You embrace challenge, and you embrace changes in outdated beliefs and continuously seek knowledge. We have some beliefs that are already outdated and we still hang on them. Like I have just said, if someone is clinging on an employee today, that's an outdated belief. And we need to outgrow and unlearn these outdated beliefs so that we can help and even help ourselves to grow. We help the organization to grow, but we even help ourselves to grow. The days of just coming to report and receive instructions and follow them are gone. Right now, we are measuring how much change you have brought, how much improvement you have brought. So are we aligning, or are we still on the old beliefs? Are we ready to unlearn and learn new things? Are we ready to embrace change, or are we resistant? Right now, we are talking about skills of analytical skills. And these analytical skills are going beyond what we thought analytical skills are. Right now, when you're sitting in the HR, I'm expecting you to be so analytical that you are able to go to the market and understand what a marketer should deliver, so that you are able to come and set the KPI of that market. Gone are the days of us setting goals or objectives of a department without going to the ground to really understand what that department should deliver. So if today I'm setting objectives of a finance, I really need to have some concepts of finance, so that when I'm saying that they need to deliver this and this, it will be achievable. It will be a smart objective. Gone are the days of setting goals from the offices. We have to go to the ground and understand and customize objectives for businesses. That is the sustainability that is called for HR today. So if we are not adaptable, if we are not embracing the changes, then we will feel like we are left out. We will feel we are not growing, and we will also lose opportunities for us to grow. I hope you can still hear me. If you can hear me, you can share some love, and you can share some clapping.
We can hear you very well. We can hear you very well.
Thank you. Before I open the floor for a discussion, allow me to say this, my last take. Your career is not just about getting a job. It's about fulfilling a meaningful purpose within an organization that aligns you with your values. And I always say this, do we ask ourselves, what is our purpose? Before we go look for that job, do we ask ourselves, what is my purpose? What are my values in life? And then this company I'm joining, what is their vision? What is their mission? What are their values? Are they aligning with my purpose? By me joining them, am I going to fulfill any purpose? I don't know whether we are keen on answering that question. But it is when we have a purpose ourselves that is clear, it is what that motivates us. It is what that keeps us waking up early in the morning to go to that organization. You're not going to that organization to fulfill their purpose. You're going to fulfill your purpose through fulfilling their purpose. But if you find yourself, you're just waking up to go work and come back in the evening, and you have fulfilled nothing about yourself, then we might be lost. And that's why we are finding we are not satisfied. We are going to go looking for money, for better pay, better pay. I'm not saying that we don't advocate for better pay. Please, we have to advocate for better pay. And now the HRs who are here, please, pay us well. But what I'm saying is, money will never be satisfying enough, because it will never get enough. I always ask, who will ever pay you well enough for forsaking your sleep early in the morning, for those of us who love sleeping in the morning, to go work? Who will pay you well enough for that sleep. So at one point in life, money will not be enough. But what will give you what will keep you waking up to go work? And we have gotten ourselves into very tricky situations where we are slaves of money, where we are slaves of bosses, where we are slaves of organizations, and we cannot even shake ourselves to go and even dig deeper into our potentials or to go try elsewhere. Because we have these old beliefs that we need to unlearn, that I don't know how long I will take to get another job. And this is the reason we have to get our purposes right. Go fulfill your purpose every morning. And that's why you have to find organizations which, when you join, you will be going to fulfill your purpose. By working with them, you'll be achieving a bit of your purpose. And I always ask people, tell me your purpose. Tell me your purpose in life. Tell me your purpose in life. If you don't have a purpose in life, even delivering or achieving the business objectives, they are going to be hard. And if you find people who wake up in the morning to go fulfill their purposes, they are always improving. They are always you will find them in continuous improvement. They are achieving far and above because they are always improving, because they are finding even more reason to fulfill their purposes. So gone are the days of just getting a job. Today, it's a call of fulfilling a meaningful purpose, and therefore getting an organization that aligns with your values. So we better have our values right. We better have values that we fight for, that we stand for. And these values are going to guide us and help us. The other thing I wanted to say is, whenever you find people who are learning, people who are continuously developing, people who are continuously learning and seeking new knowledge or seeking new ways of doing things, those people are very effective in their jobs. And they always perform way above. One way to continuously learn is the circle you move with. Who do you hang out with? What do you discuss? And I always say this, if you want to achieve higher than where you are, then you need to hang out with people who are higher than you, people who are going to challenge you, people who are going to ask you difficult questions about where you are and challenge you, and it will start something in you to pursue a change, to look forward for a change. But if you continue hanging around people who you mentor, people who look up to you, it might be hard for you to have acceleration in your career growth. You have to work with people who you are looking towards to. But this has to start with, where do I want to be? And I always say, don't ask yourself, it's okay to say, where do Mary want to be in 5 years? But it is safer for you to say, where does Mary want to be in 1 year time? And therefore, for me to be there in 1 year time, what do I need to do between now and June, in 6 months, between June and December? And I break it even further. Between now and June, for me to achieve my goal for June, what do I need to do for the next 3 months? So we have to set goals that are realistic and time-bound and that are smart. You know, smart. So, and time-bound is very real. Start with 1 year. By 1 year, you can even start with 5 years, but bring it to 1 year. For me to achieve what I want to be in 5 years, my 1 year, achievement is this. My 6-month achievement is this. My Q1 achievement is this. These things are so real, and it will connect you to the right people. It will connect you to the right mentors. In my life, I have mentors, but I always say mentorship is about me. It is my responsibility to learn. People have changed people have changed mentorship to coaching, to listening. Mentorship, it's about the mentee observing their mentors, how they are doing things, and adapting the good ways that they see. They adapt them and practice them. The values I have today, I observed my mentor and I adapted their values and I started practicing their values. Some of the values I have today, I got them from my mentors, but it was work. I put work into it. I observed how they were doing things and I decided I would want to do things this way. They are taking their jobs serious. They are so much disciplined. They are so much, they have a lot of integrity. And I decided, these values, I will practice them. And they became mine. What I want to be in the next years, I have already started aligning myself with people who are there. So my plan for the next 4 years, I'm already hanging out with people who have achieved what I want to achieve in 4 years. But I will always ask, do you know where you want to be? And that question can only be answered by a person who have defined their purpose, who have found their purpose in life. So allow me to conclude by saying this. Your worth and value is not in the job you're doing. It is who you are in Christ that matters. In God's eyes, being a janitor is as important as being a CEO of a company. I go back to your mindset. What defines your worth? Is it how much you earn? Is it the degrees you have? Is it the titles you have? What defines your worth? If someone asks Mary, what is your worth? What's your value? It is not in the job I'm doing. It is my definition of who I am in Christ. Because I know if I'm fulfilling my purpose, doesn't matter the title, if I'm fulfilling my purpose, then I am worth. Then my value is there. So your worth and value is not in the job you are doing. It is who you are in Christ that matters. In God's eyes, being a janitor is as important as being a CEO of a company. Let us pursue to fulfill our purposes. Jay, I think I hand over to you, and then I will have my parting shot later.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for that powerful presentation about our career growth. Now, a question that will most likely come from the audience, I think I've dealt with most of the audiences, and I understand that in most cases, what happens is that most of the people, most of us are the people that will come to you and tell you that, Jay, I'm looking for any job. Engineer, I'm looking for any job. Now, with these people that are looking for any job, when you started the first session for this year, we started with career goal setting. And it's been so timely that we've talked about career growth, as now it also relates to goal setting. Now, when you look at most people who always tell us that I'm looking for any job, at this point, when you talk about career growth, when should they start aligning themselves to what they want to be? Because someone will ask for a job and at some point you're telling them that I have a cleaner job, or I have an office assistant job, something maybe that does not relate to their career. How can they be able to maybe align these to their careers once now they start? Once now they realize that I'm in a career that has not been mine, but I want to do something about it, or I want to change my career, transition to another career. How will this happen?
So I would say this. Career is just a vehicle. The main thing is fulfilling purpose. I have said, if today I find myself in marketing, I will still deliver. We have to take ourselves back to fulfilling purposes. And if you define your purpose and make your purpose clear, It doesn't matter where you find yourself. If you find yourself in finance, if you find yourself in marketing, if you find yourself in HR, if you find yourself cleaning, go there and fulfill your purpose. It is not about job. And today I want us to demystify that belief. Go and fulfill your purpose. Some other time we will discuss about the today I'm doing this job, the other day. So long as you're not fulfilling your purpose, you will never be satisfied. Seek to fulfill your purpose, regardless of where you find yourself. If today I'm sweeping, I assure you I will sweep to fulfill my purpose. If tomorrow I'm going to clean those toilets, I will clean those toilets and I will fulfill my purpose. There's a lady who I was speaking to, and she did a course in journalism. And I was asking her, I asked her, what is your purpose? Why do you really want to find yourself on TV? Is this journalism all about presenting on TVs and being a presenter somewhere? Media is diverse. Media is everywhere. We have right now people who are doing brand management. That is media. We have everything is media today. But if you wait until you go to a TV to present, you will block your potential. You will lose your opportunity, because opportunities are everywhere, but you're not finding them because you have narrowed your mind only to media. So it is an invitation for us to really have the diversity in our mind, be open-minded, but also to have, it's called the abundance mentality. We have to get the abundance mentality, that I can fulfill my purpose regardless of where I am. And then you grow. The other thing is, do not just look for any job. Because even me, when I'm going to ask if I'm going to ask someone, please, can you get a job for this? What will I say? I won't go there saying they can do any job. Position yourself as people who are solving problems. Look for your passion. Solve problems that are in line with your passion. Today, come and tell me I'm passionate and I would like to solve problems in this area. I will have a target. I will have a focused manner of getting a job for you, because I will say I have a person who is very resourceful and they can solve this problem. So the conversation is no longer get me any job. That one is not helping. You come and say, I am interested in solving this problem. I can solve it in medical industry. I can solve it in banks. I can solve it in hotels. I can solve it in manufacturing. I can solve it in schools, because I'm interested in solving this problem. And you will give people an opportunity to fish wider for you, but also to be focused, that I have a person who is very resourceful and they can solve this kind of a problem. So change also your language, change the way you are approaching it. Say, I am this resourceful, I can solve this problem, and I don't mind. I can be a HR in bank, I can be a HR in hospitals, I can be a HR in schools, I can be a HR in manufacturing. But at the end of the day, what problems are you going to solve there? Read widely, research widely, see the problems that people are going through. These hospitals, what problems are they having? And present yourself as a person who is coming to solve the problems that are there currently. Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, thanks so much for that answer. It's so elaborate. Anyone with a question, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Engineer, another question will be on, there are people that maybe by one reason or the other have not been able, someone might be watching, might be tuned in, but for one reason or another, they've never gotten any job. They've never been employed. What are some of the possible starting points for such people?
Okay. And I don't know whether you mean they have never been employed and therefore they are in a situation where they're in a problem because they have not been employed, or
Not
they
really,
have
not really a
in a
problem.
Okay.
Not really a problem. In terms of their career growth, there are some people that have cleared college, graduated, but have never been employed. Maybe due to one reason or another. We have some people that I think through now the experience and the clients that we handle, you find that someone is telling you that they're looking for maybe a job that is well paying, but they have no basic experience, the foundation level. Now, for such people that have no foundation, maybe they have, all they have is maybe internship, and they've been out like for 2-3 years without employment. Where can they start? These people, should they start with internship? Should they start with volunteering? Or should they continue seeking for those jobs that are well paying?
Okay. One of the things that I have found out in this job market is the importance of experience and referees. But how do you build them? I would say seek for voluntary opportunity. Volunteer. But as you volunteer, network. Let people position you. And I would go back to start positioning yourself as a person who solves problems. And when you volunteer, go there and show proactiveness. Opportunities might arise when you are there or not, but volunteer and let people know, even when you come to volunteer maybe at a company, and maybe they give you an opportunity to volunteer for 3 months. Let people know when you are gone, how resourceful you are. How many problems did you solve? What improvements did you bring? What growth did you bring? So when you volunteer, be intentional to leave a mark. So I would say that look for opportunities to volunteer and also network. I've said, and we need to know that today, if we look at CVs and we are looking at your experience, those volunteer opportunities are enough for you to build experience. Put them in your CV. But when you are putting them in the CV, attach the improvements that you left in those places. Attach the impacts that you left in those places. Network. But when you are networking, network with the language of, I'm a resource that can solve this and this. Jay, you can add on that.
Thank you so much for that. As you've said, is all the employers are looking for is the skills that you are bringing on board, and as engineers put it, organizations are looking for problem solvers. So even as you volunteer, what impact are you bringing to that organization? And in turn, that happens that you put that information on your CV. I volunteered at organization ABC, and as I volunteered at organization ABC, I was able to achieve this and this and this. So as much as we are talking about volunteering, we are talking about career growth. All these now can help and support you improve in your career. And it's not late to start. You can always start and get where you want to be. As long as engineers put it, we are fulfilling our purpose. So by fulfilling your purpose, even through volunteering, you can do that. So go there, as they say in Kiswahili, jitume, so that now you can be seen and your impact can be felt. Even as you leave, let them know that there was someone here and his impact was great. Engineering, I have another question from Purity as how can we develop a strong executive presence and communicate with authority?
I started by saying that we have to understand that our perspectives are unique and very much needed. And then I went and I said we have to position ourselves as problem solvers. Every organization is facing challenges. There is no way that we are efficient 100%. We have to look for challenges to solve. It is by solving those challenges that we are visible, that our impact is visible. You might have a boss who is not embracing your ideas. We have to learn, we have to have something we call emotional intelligence. And part of emotional intelligence is knowing how to communicate with your boss. So we have different types of bosses, and we have different ways of handling them. We call it, I always call it a stakeholder management matrix. So if you find your boss is very powerful and very influential, but they really don't care, keep them informed. If you find your bosses are the type that if you don't call them sir, yes, madam, hello, sir, and if you find them that if you don't call those names, then they are not going to give you attention. Please call them yes, sir. Approach them when you're writing emails. Write dear sir. If they are those bosses that are very careful on what you call them, don't say dear Samuel. Say dear sir, and then you say kindly review and comment. So it's a matter of learning the street smart language to deal with our bosses. All bosses can be categorized in 4 categories. Know where your boss is, know the right way to communicate with them, and maneuver. Be willing to learn. At the end of the day, who is going to suffer if their career is not developed? It is you. So it is our responsibility to go out of the way and understand this stakeholder management, learn that my boss, so long as I inform them, they are good. My boss, I have to involve them. Even when I sneeze, they need to know I have sneezed. Please do it. But I'm not saying that you go now, know your values, don't compromise on your values. I'm just saying, understand stakeholder management. There are those that they have to be involve them. There are those that you just inform them, please inform them. But we have to understand how to deal with all this. But at the end of the day, where is your mindset? Have you accepted that you have unique perspectives? Have you accepted that your ideas are unique and important? Have you identified challenges? Solve them. And don't solve them saying that I need to be recognized that I've solved this problem. That comes in later. But when you're given opportunities in the boardroom, don't keep quiet. Talk. Talk in those boardrooms. Talk in those boardrooms. If you have an open door policy, walk into your boss office and tell them, I have analyzed this problem and I have this solution for it. Solve those problems and know how to solve them, considering the aspects of your organization.
Thank you so much, Engineer, for that. I was wondering, where is Regina today? Regina has been one of the consistent members for these webinars since it started. Thanks, Regina, for your question. Regina is asking, how should one approach writing a recommendation letter at the end of the contract of an employee whose performance did not fully meet expectations or had negative impact at work? Am I to be honest about their conduct, or do I be discreet?
I would answer this from my perspective, but I would want HRs here to also comment. I think I have seen Esther Katiba is with us. I would say this, before that point where the employee is leaving and you need to do a recommendation, did you give feedback? Did you try to change roles? Today we are having the HR has really evolved, and it is no longer about dismissal. It's about you're not effective here. Can I change your role to a different area and see whether you'll be effective? You have to give employees opportunities and opportunities and opportunities. We say you have to give them enough ropes to hang themselves. For lack of a better term. But what I'm saying is, before you write that recommendation that you feeling like if you write it okay, it won't be okay. You first of all evaluate whether as an organization you really helped this person to improve. You really gave them an opportunity to improve. Because today you might say Mary was not productive, was rude, but I will say the environment was toxic. So it is two-way. It is two-way. And I always say this, it's not about, it's not about these recommendations. You can, some even organizations are like, you go ahead, state you worked here, they will call us and we'll give them feedback about you. But again, I come back to integrity. We have to uphold our integrity, even as we pursue to be empathetic and ethical, we have to uphold integrity. So if someone calls you and asks, I would want you to tell me about something about Mary. And you know Mary is not reliable, Mary is not a time manager, Mary is very rude. Why would you lie about it? You're not being ethical and you're not upholding integrity. So it's a thin line. You can do a recommendation letter. You don't have to be harsh on them. And you present, you comment on their good side and present improvements on the cover, on the recommendation letter. So it has to carry empathy with it. Start with the good side of the person. The person can't be completely 100% wrong. Start with the good side of them, then present their shortcomings in a manner that it is a continuous improvement recommendation you are giving. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think maybe I can add something before Esther gives a verdict on the same as well. For me, I feel that you don't have to be overly negative on the areas that the staff was not underperforming. So you can focus on the areas that they were doing well. And if you feel that this person has been so poor in performance, then you can just give, instead of doing the recommendation, you can just do a letter of a confirmation that the person was employed with your company and they worked with you. I think that one will be okay. Esther, do you have something you can add before you tackle the next question? Huyu Esther anaonekana hayuko hapa. Now, Saidi talks about, I'm applying for jobs but not getting interview invite through, though currently I'm at an entry role in a company, but look forward to advancing my skills in better place because I feel my work place is toxic and limits me a lot. Engineer, do you have something to talk about to Saidi about? Or I can
Jay, and this is your area of expertise. Also, the CVs that we are presenting, they are also wanting. And I would want to say this. We have this ChatGPT, and you can easily develop a CV. But do you know when those CVs land on our desks, we can tell. These are very generic CV. It's a very ChatGPT. It's very generic. It's not you. So also your CV matters. And I also go back to, you have to present yourself as a person solving a problem. When you're doing those cover letters, if you do a cover letter for HACO and you do a cover letter to the bank, those two cover letters are going to be different. The way I'm going to do a cover letter for a manufacturing company, I will address challenges mainly in manufacturing. When I'm doing a cover letter to a bank, I will address challenges that are in the bank. And I will present myself as a person coming to solve those problems. So what is in your cover letter? Is it the same cover letter that you sent to a food industry that you are sending to a cosmetic industry? Is it the same cover letter you are sending to a hospital when you're moving from a bank as a HR? The problems and the dynamics of those two sectors are different. So we have to custom make our cover letters, and our cover letters must be addressing challenges that we are willing to solve.
Thank you so much for that. I think for Saidi, I think you can reach out to me tomorrow. I can have a look at your CV and then I can give feedback on the same. Elijah talked about, added something on Regina's question. It's legally wrong to write a negative review in a recommendation letter. It's instead simply state the staff member was part of your organization from a specific date to another and held a particular role. Assist where you can. Thank you so much for that feedback, Elijah. I think that is so true, based on what I had said as well. On the issue of job seekers asking for any job, what picture can they create as a hiring manager when a job seeker asks for a position which doesn't exist within the institution's organogram?
So does that mean you didn't do research for the organization you're going? Because at the end of the day, who is going to create a new role for you? I think that would be my perspective. And this informs a lot about our homeworks and our responsibility to do our homeworks before we join these organizations. Do you know, not even applying for roles that are not there, but sometimes we are getting people who are interested in some jobs, and then they arrive in an interview and then confirm what role you are here to interview for. It's an engineering role, and then someone says, I'm here for operations manager. But the interview is for a machine operator. I don't know. You say something different from what you have come to interview for. And that shows you're not keen, you're not attentive, you're not, you didn't do your homework, and therefore you're not a reliable person, or you really didn't. There's the days of being, the days of someone sending you, oh, just go, they'll give you a job. Those days are gone. The days of being generic are gone. Right now, we are looking on hands-on skills, and even the questions that are asked during the interview are illustrations or demonstrations of you implementing the skills you claim you have. So you can't just go into an organization and seek for a role that it is not in the organization. It's good that we do our homework and do it diligently and intentional. But let us be intentional in it as
well. Just to add on that is, when you ask for even for someone for any job, you are not clearly looking at your goal, because as we've talked about being a problem solver, you should have a clear picture of who you want to be in that organization. If it's going, are you going in as a cleaner? Are you going in as an accountant? So be very clear on what you want, so that now as well you have a clear career goal. The organization might not maybe have an opening in the area that you're looking at, but because they understand some of the things that you bring on board based on now your background or your goals, they can even create one or even give you an opportunity to volunteer. So make sure that you have a clear career goal. You might not be working now, but if you talk about we have a sales position, what are you bringing on board if given an opportunity as a salesperson? So talk about what you bring on board and how you can be able to gel in the organization and help them meet their bigger organizational goals and vision. Lubinzu Collins has talked about how can we deal with the dismissal from a job as a result of integrity issue, in which present witnesses include the HR, and at the time of the incident or letter agree on your innocence, but the manager, who is somewhat absolute final, isn't. Engineer, should I come again, or you have a hand up? Umeielewa swali?
don't know, I think you have to repeat it.
How can we deal with a dismissal from a job as a result of integrity? In this question, the HR is on your side, but the manager, who is making the final verdict, is not on your side. How can you handle this?
But the manager, who is somewhat absolute final, isn't. So, first of all, I would say this is not ethical, because and it is not even legal, because right now, before a dismissal is done, you have to be given a warning letter. Even before the warning letter, you have your immediate manager or your immediate supervisor have to address the case with you. So I would ask, does this person, are they aware, or maybe we are not aware of how to deal with these things at job places, or what is expected of HRs at job places. If you receive a dismissal, you had never received a warning letter, you have not been called for a disciplinary, or you have been called for a disciplinary and you have never received a warning letter, you have not received a show cause, therefore you have not responded to what you are accused of, it is illegal in Kenya. And not only in Kenya, but it is illegal. You can't do that. If an employee has an issue, you need to address it as a line supervisor. Call them, tell them, I would want you to improve here and here. If they don't improve, call them again in presence of HR and ask them, what support do you need for you to improve here and here? Because by you not improving, you're affecting the business of the organization this way. It is tough. And I want to challenge the HRs who are here. It is tough. It is not as easy as dismissing people. You have to call them and give them opportunity. You have to ask them, can I change you from putting a label to putting these products in a carton? You might be productive there. You have to show that you give them an opportunity. And after you have exhausted all the avenues of giving them an opportunity, then you give them a warning letter. And after you give them a warning letter, you give them another warning letter. And after that, now you give them a show cause where they have to respond. And after that, now you call for a disciplinary where you invite an independent person from other departments and of course their bosses, such that the dismissal that is going to arrive from that, it will not be the manager who is somehow absolute final. It cannot. It will be the 3 of you or the 4 of you or the 7 of you decision on that. And you have to check carefully. Have you given them an opportunity to improve? Have you trained them? Because some of them need retraining. I think that would be my take on that. But if you find yourself in organizations where this is happening, it's so unfortunate, and at this era that we have such things happening, it means both the employee and the HR do not understand the current trends or the current laws in labor about this, but it would be unfortunate. Maybe you need to reach out to Jay for help.
Jay, may I throw in something?
Yes, thank you so much, Richie.
Thank you very much. Actually, towards the tail end of Wangare's response, she mentioned something that is very important, that HR people should be able to be very aware. It is always good if you have decided to dismiss somebody and there are diverse views concerning an issue, it is good to always to give that room for you are allowed to appeal. And when there's an appeal, the people who participated in the first hearing, they will not be part of the discussion, so that independent, different thought processes regarding what has happened can be given. So it is good that Wangare has mentioned that point, that when you appeal, other people who are not party to the first discussion can have a fresher view. You see, right now, the head of department is saying that this person was accused or was caught stealing, for example. We do not know what it means. The HR person, probably because they know processes and all that, or looking for evidence, says this person did not steal. So when we have those diverse views, it is important for us to always, in our letters of separation, you should say that you have a right to appeal. And when you have an appeal, it is not the original people who will be involved. Thank you, Jay and Gangar.
Thank you so much for that. Maybe my contribution on this.
Very important. Thank you so much, Richard.
My contribution for this will be on organizations should have clear HR policies, policies that can guide in terms of such incidents. And when you have what Tess has said, that follow due process of dismissal, there's a disciplinary process that is key, and that should be now encouraged in the HR policy. And one thing that I know most of us, even those that are working, they have never seen the policies of the organizations that they're working for. If I'm lying, you can write in the chat section. Many of us do not know about the HR policies they have in the organizations. This document should be now available. It should be available to any staff member once they join an organization, so that you go through and understand what consequences will follow in case now of you befall in such a misfortune. So the HR people maybe in the webinar tonight can be there now to start now doing the good practices. Have the policies distributed. Have every member of staff go through the policies and understand the ins, the do's and don'ts for each and every policy. And in that manner, it will bring harmony to the organization. I think we are short of time. The last question we can take from Brenda, who talked about sometimes one is always willing to learn, but you discover that you can't approach certain people for help because maybe they feel like you are too busy and need to be given boundaries. How do you handle that? Engineer, you can take that before we finalize.
Before I take it, I think Esther is back. Esther, would you like to address that one? Esther Katiba?
Sorry, engineer. What was the question? I was typing something actually. I was typing on the issue of the recommendation, so I missed the question. I'm sorry.
So the question is on sometimes one is always willing to learn, but you discover that you can't approach certain people for help because they are too busy, because maybe they feel like they're too busy and need to be given boundaries. How do you handle that? Basically, what she means is that there are people that you feel you might want to approach, but you might not feel comfortable approaching them. How should she handle that in case now she wants to seek help, maybe from these people?
Yeah, but number one, the person seeking help is already assuming that we are too busy. I actually got sounds like you read my inbox on LinkedIn. I got someone who said, I would want you to mentor me, but you look like you're too busy. Now, surely. Of course, I'm not idle. Sorry, with all due respect. But you see, when someone tells you that you even marry, you're like, okay, so what are you trying to say? I said, I wrote back and said, I'm willing to mentor you. However, it needs to be structured, Yeah. And you see, to structure is not my responsibility. It is your responsibility to structure it and tell me I would want to be mentored in 1, 2, 3, or 4 areas. Then possibly we can do that on a chat. We can do a call. Or you can enroll in a program. But I think it's important that people are bold. Identify, as I had Mary talk about, identify people that speak to your passion. Not everyone will take you where you want to go. Not every vehicle takes you to your destination. So someone may look like and maybe a big brand or doing well, but are they going in the direction that you want to go? So identify people that are going where you would want to be, and make a request. Many people are willing to mentor you. Just make sure that you're also consistent so that someone does not set aside their time to mentor you and then you are not available. Now, the mentor is the one looking for you, it doesn't give a very good image. I think it's just approach people. I have seen Richie here, Mary's here, Jay is here, I am here, many other people are here. It's important that you also just know what you want. What do you want? So that when someone comes and asks you, what exactly do you want, Princess? What area do you want to improve in? Don't say, I don't know. It's just like what I had Jay say, any job. There's no job called any job. It's actually desperation that leads people to calling jobs any job. So telling me to mentor you in any area really doesn't work. So identify the areas and look for people that are good in that area. Request them. Let them say no. Don't push them into saying no by the messages you send. Yeah, I think that helps. If you allow me, Jay, let me talk about the recommendation letter, because I was on the road, but I was listening. There's no law that requires us to give you a recommendation letter, but there's a law that requires an employer to give you a certificate of service. Okay?
Yeah.
So in the certificate of service, I'll simply say Jay worked with this organization for this period in this position, this and that. Now, employers who know that Jay alisumbua, they just want to say exactly what the law requires. However, if Jay was an asset, most of them will add there and say he did this and this, he contributed to this and this. So you cannot push an employer to give you a recommendation, but they should legally give you a certificate of service. Now, if someone was not doing well, I think don't pull the string of just destroying someone's future. You're better off not giving them that bad recommendation and remain silent. You can give that feedback, as Mary says, to the individual, but you don't have to broadcast it, because no one is perfect anyway. People change. You can give it as feedback to them. Okay, is that fine, Jay?
That is very okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Esther. That's very good.
Kevin has a question, and Kevin is taking us on another topic. But because we are here, you can just respond to this. Is it right for a job seeker to call the hiring manager later if they fail to respond after the interviews to confirm the interview outcome? Esther, you can respond to that as we finalize.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with it, but don't call the following day. I think in most interviews, someone will tell you, we will get back to you in 1 week. Now, when that 1 week is over, you can politely, some of these nagging calls can actually make people just dismiss you. Yeah. But it is okay, because if they're not giving, and for the HRs in the room, it is important to give feedback. I mean, you see, after an interview, there's anxiety, there's expectation. People need to make a decision on maybe they're getting another job offer. Even you, if it were you in an interview, you would be anxious, you'd be waiting for feedback. So let's give feedback, positive or negative. But if you give negative feedback, let it be constructive. Don't destroy a person's confidence. Don't crush them. Just give them honest feedback, but politely honest. So it's okay to call, but after the lapse of the time. So before you leave the interview room, you can ask, you can politely ask, after how long do we expect to get feedback? Some will tell you 2 weeks, 1 week, and all that. So it's okay. It's fine. You can even drop an email, but don't send an intrusive email. It's just very polite, just finding out how the interviews were, or getting feedback for your own performance. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And also, I think what Kevin is asking for, I know of several people that when they go for an interview, are like, I did so well, and now just want closure for that specific interview that you went for. So all the job seekers are looking for is the closure. They want to know that whether they passed the interview or not passed, so that now they can be able to proceed with applying for other jobs. There are people that when they go for an interview, they are sure like, this is my job. But now you don't know how other candidates performed. You don't know what the recruiters were looking for. And sometimes you might not have been the best candidate for that position. So I always advise that after the interview, forget about it, keep on applying. And the HR people now, for being as a good practice, let's give feedback to these job seekers. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, and we need just to coexist well in this nation. There's so much to stress about. We don't need to create more stress for these job seekers. Regina has talked about, will we then say that the letter of service is mandatory? It's mandatory, Regina, and a recommendation letter is optional, as you've said, so can only be availed on request. So up to that, I think Kevin has said that I think bad recommendation letters come from toxic environments, sorry to say. And Kevin, that is 50-50 because they might be giving you a recommendation letter based on now your performance. So it might be toxic, well, and maybe now you as an employee might have failed maybe to meet your performance as well. And that's why we have the probation period, so that they can check on that. Lucy has asked about, do employers have the right to demand that one displays certain profile pictures and not others? Kindly expound on this. I think Esther and engineer and Richard, Lucy is asking about personal branding. I think this is partly about personal branding. Should employer dictate on the kind of profile pictures you need to display, maybe on our social media platforms?
Richard, do you want to take that one? Oh, Esther, go ahead. Esther, go ahead.
I'll say sometimes yes and no. It also depends on their nature of business. There are some photos that we might display that might dent the brand of the organization. So we also need to be, and it's really not more of the employer, it's also for you. How do people view you? Let's say you're the MD or the CEO of an organization and you have a very strange image, a nude photo, sorry to say. Honestly speaking, when people search for a certain organization, what shows up? Because when you join an organization, you agree to be part of the branding, you know? So it affects you and affects you. And it's the same as my dress, my choice. When you join an organization, you sign policies and processes that you're also going to protect a brand. And I think Mary would tell you this clearly. There's a kind of branding, there's a kind of online presence and kind of a conversation that an organization will come and say, this is not us, you know? Maybe in your other spaces, I've seen people that keep their Instagram and other TikTok very personal, but then they keep their LinkedIn very professional. So you should know how to separate the two so that your personal life does not affect the business. I think that's all I would say. Just know how you position yourself, and not just for the current employer, even for your future employers. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Esther Katiba, for those very wonderful insights on how we should use our pictures to convey our brand. Majorly, in certain organizations, they will want you to behave in a certain way. They could want you to communicate something. You know, your picture in social media platforms is sending a certain image, and it is very easy for your brand to be linked to the organization that you're working for, especially very conservative institutions like banks. They could want you to have a very conservative sense of visual, how you build your visual. Let me ask you, what do you think background companies do? They go to your social media platforms to check your content. You could be competently fit, but culturally unfit for a particular organization. You have everything, you've scored A in everything, but the culture that you have, your personal culture, does not align itself to that organization. For example, there is a time I was told I was training an organization, an NGO, And I was told that here the CEO belongs to LGBT. The CEO is also belongs to LGBT. So you have to be very careful of what you are going to say. If you bring your Catholic sense of thinking, you will. Organizations have their culture. For example, banks, insurance, lawyers. You know, a lawyer, you cannot dress with a t-shirt to the court. You know, they have got their own ways of doing things. So ask yourself, what is the culture of the organization? What message am I? You are always conveying some message. And we normally say your body language is 55% of what you communicate. So if the way your picture is taken is going to injure the sense of an organization, therefore an employer will somehow tell you that we do not want this. You will find yourself losing a lot of opportunities if you do something that is different from what they think should be a carrier of their mission and vision. Yes, you have got to be very careful in how you do your communication, your personal communication, and how it relates to that organization you're working for. Thank you, Jay and Esther and Wangari.
Wangari, is there anything you need to talk about on branding?
I cannot emphasize further. When you, as Esther and Richard has put it, when you join a company, you sign those documents. You commit to protect their values. And as I said from the beginning, get to understand their vision, their mission, their values. So that when they are telling you that you need to protect this value, you are willing to protect it. But when a HR tells you to drop some photos, please do if you're interested to continue with that job. Because at the end of the day, whenever Mary talks, you will see Hako behind her. Do I want to carry Hako brand with all the dignity it deserves? Or yeah, so it's a call that we commit to when we are getting that job.
Thank you so much, Mary. I think I have no other addition on that. In an organization where no KPI are set, no performance management set for you, no performance management system, how do you gauge yourself?
Okay, so no KPIs, but do you have the things that you're supposed to deliver? Because even if the HR is not setting the KPIs, what have they employed you to do? Then you set according to what they have employed you to do. But I said, you have to understand as a responsible employee and as a person seeking to grow in their career, you have to go far and above what you have been brought to do. You have to go beyond task-oriented deliverables. You have to bring improvements. So gauge yourself with the improvements that you have brought on board, with the growth that you have brought on board, with the savings that you have achieved. I think after this discussion, we need to go beyond those set KPIs, whether they are there or not. At the end of the day, yeah, deliver what you have been employed to do, but go way and above that.
Thank you so much for that.
Jay,
Anyone
I
in
want to say
addition?
something.
Yeah.
Jay, in such a place, and I've seen organizations that just hire you, but really, what is the conversation between you and them before you join them? What are you going to do? What are you going to deliver? Really, because that's where you go in and you find yourself today in the kitchen, tomorrow you're an accountant, the following day you're in procurement. What exactly are you going to do? Because it actually doesn't even mess the organization, it messes you, because you don't even know how to measure your growth. You can't even do a CV. What are you going to say you did? Because I've seen people who are not able to write their CVs. They worked in the kitchen, they worked in accounts, they were messengers, how do you even measure yourself? So it's important that you ask for a clear job description before you join an organization. It may be just, if it's a very small organization, it may just be basic roles, but just have some guidance so that when you wake up, you know what you want to achieve. But otherwise, you'll also be waking up to almost nothing, and you're okay in the evening because you can't even tell what you've done. So it's your responsibility before you join an organization to ask for clarity of roles, and so that you're also able to achieve, to measure your growth, your career growth. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Esther. And I think we've come to the end of this session. Festus, are you there? You can pray for us as we close. Engineer, you can, the three speakers, coincidentally, we had three speakers. We can give a parting shot based on the topic of today, and then Festus can close for us with a word of prayer. We start with you, Mary.
So my parting shot would be the following. All of us have tremendous potential to drive innovation and change and hence achieve growth. And it's important that we realize that our potential or the success that we want or we are seeking in our growth lies in how well we position ourselves to add value and to grow beyond our assigned roles. We have to step up, we have to be bold, and we have to shape our careers with intentionality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Esther, you found us on the way, but you've been listening. Is there anything that you'd like to tell us as a parting shot tonight?
I'll simply say audit your current state. Where are you? Where do you want to go? And who do you want in your journey? I think that's important. Just know where you want to go. Understand where you want to go. Then choose the vehicle that you want to use. Thank you.
Asante sana. Richard,
thank you, Jay, my good friend, for that opportunity. Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you very much, Wangare, for the points that you have raised that are important in catapulting the careers of the people who are listening today. What I will say, if you want to excel in your career growth, ask yourself, what are the sources of your confidence? What are the sources of your knowledge? What are you doing so that you can improve daily? Not next week, not next month. It is what you are doing right now so that you can continuously improve. If you ask yourself that question, you will get so many opportunities for your career excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Richard Magoma. Have a good night.
thank you so much.